we find that the Messianic prophecies begin to build with the time of Abraham. Remember, the entire world went into pagan darkness again, not long after Noah's flood. And the faith seemed to be extinguished from the earth. But then God called a man out of modern-day Iraq. His name was Abraham. He came from a community called Ur of the Chaldees. The scripture doesn't tell us, but Jewish history tells us that Abraham's father was an idol merchant. Must have been a real shock to his dad when Abraham comes up to him and says, "Dad, there's one God." And he spoke to me. The ancient rabbis tell us that his dad was furious with him when he found this out. So one day when his dad left the shop, this is ancient Jewish tradition, went off to lunch, Abraham took a stick and he broke up every idol in the shop with the exception of the largest idol. And he put this stick in the hands of the idol. And when his father came back to the shop, he was furious. What happened here? And Abraham said, well, this biggest idol got mad at all the other idols and took that stick that you see and broke them all up. And his dad says, what are you trying to tell me? You know an idol is nothing. It can't do anything. And Abraham said, exactly. Exactly. Abraham, of course, left Ur of the Chaldees. He left his kindred. He went to a land that he knew not, that God had promised him. We call it the Promised Land. And God promised Messiah through his seed, and his seed would bless all the world. And St. Paul tells us that seed is Christ. And then the Messianic prophecies began to come in rapid succession. He would be descendant of Abraham. Does that mean he would be a Jew? You know that Abraham wasn't a Jew? Was he? No. That's shocking, isn't it? Abraham wasn't a Jew. Do you know Moses wasn't a Jew? We talked about that faithful Jew Abraham, or the faithful Jew Moses, but Moses wasn't a Jew, and Abraham wasn't a Jew. Abraham was a Hebrew. Hebrew means a descendant of Eber. You find Eber in the Old Testament. You've got to read your book of Genesis. Genesis is the foundation of all the other scriptures. But Hebrew comes from Eber, and it also means from across the river. Abraham crossed over into the Promised Land. But Abraham was a Hebrew. He wasn't a Jew. And then we have the Messianic promise that the Redeemer would come through Isaac. Isaac wasn't a Jew either. Isaac was the son of Abraham, and he was a Hebrew. And then we have Messianic prophecies that the Messiah would come through Jacob. Jacob wasn't a Jew either. Jacob was a Hebrew. Jacob was the first Israelite. Remember, God changed Jacob's name to Israel, and that means a prince with God. And this family would now become a nation. And Jacob had 12 sons who became the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel. And one of his sons was named Judah. Now, he was the first Jew. See, the Jews are only one of 12 tribes of Israel. So, Abraham wasn't a Jew, and he wasn't an Israelite. He was a Hebrew. Isaac wasn't a Jew, wasn't an Israelite. He was a Hebrew. Jacob wasn't a Jew. He was a Hebrew and an Israelite, the first Israelite. And his 12 sons were all Israelites, but only Judah was a Jew. It's very much like we could say that all Nebraskans are Americans. All these 12 sons were Israelites. But not all Americans are Nebraskans. Not all the Israelites were Jews. Only the descendants of Judah. And so here we find that the prophecies say that he would be of the tribe of Judah. He would be a descendant of Judah. He wouldn't be a descendant of Naphtali. He wouldn't be a descendant of Zebulun. He wouldn't be a descendant of Ephraim or Manasseh. He wouldn't be a descendant of Levi. And by the way, Moses, who led the children of Israel out of Egypt, wasn't a Jew. And most of those people who left Egypt weren't Jews, because only one of those 12 tribes that left were Jews. Moses was of the tribe of Levi. See, he wasn't a Jew. He was an Israelite, and he was a Levite. He wasn't a Jew. So anyway, we have these 12 tribes, and the promise is that he would come through the tribe of Judah, no other. But then there's more prophecies. See, God is narrowing this down so there can't be any mistake. So you don't have to ever wonder, well, how do we really know that Jesus is the Messiah? There are so many prophecies that have to be fulfilled exactly. And only one person could possibly do it. And one person did it. So then we find there's prophecies that he would not only come from the descendant of Abraham, from the nation of Israel, from the tribe of Judah, but from the family of David as well. So now we know even what family.